Hey guys, it's Tom and
Andy?
from Wapeach.com, and this week we are looking at Punch Out for the NES and the Super NES. Classic game series, one of my favorites, at least the NES version. Any thoughts on this, Andrew?
Absolutely. I thought Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was one of my favorite games after the whole ear-biting incident, though. And after, well, actually, the real reason was because licensing ran out. A lot of people thought it was the ear thing, but then they re-released it with without Mike Tyson, just calling it Punch-Out. And I think Mr. Dream was the boss, right?
Correct.
It was a really fun, simple to play game. The main thing lacking in this game and its sequels is the multiplayer. Um, But, they did a lot what they could with the NES controls. Your B and A were the left and right punches. Select was your super punch when you earned it. That was the star up top. And, it was fun. You had little things like Mario and, being the ref. The other cool thing is, look at the audience. That's a pretty detailed audience for an NES game, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, usually,
Well, they're
especially
all white people.
when you think about games like on baseball and ice hockey, the audience consisted of just colored dots. So you've
Yeah,
actually got some facial
even
features
now,
there.
sometimes.
hmm
Even in like the 2K5 series games and stuff like that, it was still like that, and we accepted it.
hmm
Um,
I think most people are kind of familiar with the Punch Out series for the NES, so we're going to look probably a little bit more in detail at the Super NES version, which I think maybe not as many people are familiar with. I certainly wasn't.
yeah, definitely. One thing that you can definitely say is that both these games were arcade games as well.
hmm
So that's one thing to consider. The first version that was out was in '84 for the arcade, and then the second version came out a year later in the arcade as well, in '85, and then the console versions came out. So if I'm understanding this right, the arcade version of Super Punch Out came out before the NES version of Punch Out.
As far as I
Because
know, yeah, yeah.
the NES version of Punch Out came out in '87. There was also an arm wrestling game that was the first and only spin-off of the series. Um, the arcade version had like a wireframed character, whereas in the NES version you have kind of a translucent looking character, and the arcade version also had a much bigger screen with more stuff showing. You
Right.
had a
They
whole
kind of
top.
try to do the same thing here, where it's almost like they made you feel like you're the boxer. You know.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, the arcade versions were ironically a lot less arcadey.
hmm
They were almost more sim-like. Um, but when it came time for Punch Out to be released, it was it was on the home console. It was like a kind of a port of Punch Out and Super Punch Out. It took aspects of both those games, the first NES game, and it was more like Super Punch Out than it was like the original Punch Out. Ironically, in a way, and there's really not much to say about the arcade versions. In my opinion, they really weren't that great. I've played them through various means, and even the very first Punch Out for the arcade had wireframe mode, so having Mac be in the way wasn't what they intended, which is why they went with the translucent version in the second game.
Right. What's funny though, when you think about Punch Out, I mean, that's not like I know it's a Nintendo game, but it's like I don't think of it as a Nintendo game. You know what I mean? Like you think Nintendo, you think Mario, Link, Samus.
Yes,
You really don't put Punch Out
Little
in with
Mac.
those,
No.
right? Because it's
It
like
definitely doesn't feel like a Nintendo game at all, especially the second one, where it only had Nintendo on the goalpost, pretty much. You know what I mean?
well after the Super Nintendo, he vanished. He had no
Hmm.
appearances on the 64, nothing on the GameCube. And now there's a Wii game finally coming out, but that's two generations where they basically did nothing with them, so
And the thing with the Wii game is that it's cell shaded, and it's the kind of game, in my opinion, where it should be a downloadable content.
well it seems like a perfect fit for the style of the game, characters are nice and cartoony. I've seen the
Like
shots
a
of the game so far
downloadable.
and
Yeah.
it looks
Um,
it looks like it'll fit it well.
Little Mech is described on the NES version as being 17 years old, according to the Game Informer, and comes from the Bronx, New York. Yeah.
He's coached by
Uh,
the dad from Family Matters.
Yeah, basically.
Or the cop from Die Hard, depending on which one you
Or
prefer.
the guy who stole someone's bike. Yeah. Mike Tyson, when he was replaced by Mr. Dream because the licensing thing, it was basically like a whitish, Italianish looking version of Mike Tyson. It
Yeah,
wasn't really.
just as hard and unforgiving. He could pretty much kill you in one punch.
Yeah, exactly. There's no ear biting though or anything. One thing that you notice about this game is the boxer takes up a lot more space on the screen too.
Mhm.
Little Mac, you saw his whole body. They were little dinky characters, little tiny sprites. Now you have a whole screen of Punch Out. But why are the gloves glowing? Stuff like that.
That means
Gotcha.
he's got a special move.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh my God, that looks like the Walt's dad from Lost. Michael.
Walt! Nah, that guy, if I remember correctly, his name is Bob Charlie. Kind of, Bob Marley. Everybody in this game is kind of like they just ripped something out of pop culture and kind of parodied it. This is a Bruce Lee type.
Bruce Lee with a long face.
Yeah, Bruce Lee. His name is like Jackie Lee or like Bruce Chan, something like that. Just
Yeah, total. Not even trying to hide it.
Dragon Chan. I think that is his name.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not the first game to do that either, where they kind of just take Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and mix them together. What was it? Was it Tekken? What was the guy's name?
No idea.
They've got a Bruce Lee clone in there and a Jackie Chan clone.
Really?
Yeah.
They were pretty shameless on, kind of hitching on to whatever was the current fad, essentially. But whatever.
I will say that this game definitely fits the spirit of Punch Out. It's kind of. I mean, you say it's a boxing game, but it's really not. It's more of like a rhythm timing based game because you can't really move around the ring. It's learning what the your opponent does, learning when to block, when to punch.
I definitely will not argue with that. I think that it would have been better with multiplayer. I think there could have been a way to do multiplayer on the NES one. But whatever.
Well, they are going to have multiplayer in the Wii version coming out, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Don't own a Wii. My wife's parents own one, so I doubt it's something that they're going to play, but it will have multiplayer. So
grandparents are going to play Wii boxing. End of story. It's not gonna go past that. I don't know. I just don't have any interest in the Wii version. I really don't. This may sound really sad, but I kind of want Nintendo to just disappear and do like only software like Sega does.
I would hate to see that.
I would love to see that.
Although I do feel like sometimes that they only survive because their first-party software is so good.
Yeah, but it's like we had to talk about before. It's mostly rehashes, but what was the other game, Kid Icarus, that like never had a sequel and everyone was always begging for?
Again, and it's a Nintendo title. And we talk about that show, Captain N. They featured Kippo was from Punch Out. He was in there. Kid Icarus was in there. Mega Man was in there for some reason.
Good to see Jack Black in a video game.
Oh, what the Brutal Legend?
Yeah.
Jack. Nah, dude, he looks like the guy from the cartoon, Mucha Lucha. He's even got the same color scheme. That is not Nacho Libre. He's too tan. Jack Black is a pasty, white, fat guy.
That is true. And muscular, yeah.
Yeah, and muscular. All right, so
I always thought the getting up animation was strange in this game. It's like you're just kind of rising up,
Yeah, so.
That's it, guys. Wapeach.com, Retrocut versus blog post, podcast, you name it, we do it. All right, we'll see you around.
Across Videoland at the strange world of Punch-Out, Mother Brain's minions are also getting ready for the games.
One potato, two potatoes, three potatoes, four. After I skip the rope, I eat one potato more. Ah, delicious.
I love punching the punching bag. But I love biting them even better.
All right, King Hippo. Let's see if you can lift this much weight.
No sweat. Hey, Mother Brain! How'd you like the way I cleaned and jerked this way?
I'll be in your face, jerk, if you don't stop fooling around.
But we're practicing for the games just like you told us to.
I didn't expect you to practice sports. I expected you to practice cheating, you hippopotamus head.
But why do we need to cheat if you're just going to destroy them with the power of the 3 sacred treasures?
Because, you cauliflower brain, winning the games will improve my image as Princess of Videoland.